So, check this out. We're talking about a PC so tiny it literally fits in the palm of your hand. But it makes this huge promise that it can run the biggest, baddest AAA games you can throw at it. Today, we're going to see if that's for real. And that brings us to the million-dollar question, doesn't it? Can a little box like this actually handle something as massive and graphically insane as Cyberpunk 2077? I mean, really? Well, that's exactly what we're here to find out. All right, so let's meet our challenger. This is the Core X Pro, and the hype around it is pretty big. The promise isn't just that it can play games, but that it delivers, and I quote, an absolutely smashing performance, all from a box that you could lose on your desk. Okay, so how on earth is a little machine like this supposed to do all that? Well, to figure that out, we've got to pop the hood and see what's actually powering this thing. Let's get into the specs. So what's under the hood? Well, the heart of this thing is a Ryzen 7 6800H processor, and that's a serious chip. We're talking 8 cores, 16 threads. It's got a whopping 24 gigs of fast LPDDR5 RAM. But here's the real kicker. Look at that last bullet point, eGPU support over USB-C. You know what that means? It means if the built-in graphics aren't enough for you later on, you can just plug in a full-size monster desktop graphics card. That is huge for keeping this thing relevant. Now, before we get to the fun stuff, the gaming, let's do a quick reality check. How does this thing handle, normal, everyday computer stuff, the work, the browsing, the multitasking? And the answer? It's a breeze. For all your normal day-to-day use, I'm talking tons of browser tabs, office apps, streaming 4K video, this little machine doesn't even break a sweat. Seriously, zero lag. It handles all of that like it's absolute child's play. All right, the daily driver test passed with flying colors. Now it's time for the main event. We're gonna run the gauntlet. Let's throw some of the most demanding, graphically intense games at this mini PC and see if the hype is real. And we had to start with the big one, the one we asked about right at the start, Cyberpunk 2077. The thinking is, if it can survive Night City, it can probably survive anything. Let's see what happened. And here we go. It pulled a stable, playable 38 frames per second at 1080p on low settings. Now, hang on, let's put that into perspective. This is a game that can make high-end desktop PCs weep. So getting a smooth frame rate like this on a tiny little box, that is honestly a massive win. Okay, next on the chopping block, let's try another gorgeous, sprawling open-world game, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. This one is also known for pushing systems pretty hard, so let's see if that performance holds up. And yep, another really solid result. We're looking at a steady 40 FPS at 1080p with medium settings. So you're starting to see a pattern here, right? This thing can absolutely deliver a really enjoyable 1080p gaming experience on these big modern titles. For our third test, we're bringing out another absolute legend, God of War. I mean, the game is just stunning to look at, which makes it a perfect way to test just how capable these graphics are. And you guessed it, the Core X Pro handles it like a champ. It keeps things above 30 frames per second, even with a mix of medium and high settings at 1080p. This really proves that the strong performance isn't a fluke. It's a genuinely capable 1080p machine. Okay, so we know it can handle these big, epic, single-player adventures. But what about the other kind of gaming? The fast-paced, competitive shooters, where every single frame is the difference between winning and losing. This is where it really starts to shine. In games like Battlefield V, the performance was, again, described as smashing. For those super popular esports titles like CSGO or Valorant, oh yeah, it just blows right past 80, even 90 frames per second. That gives you that super smooth, high refresh rate gameplay that competitive players absolutely need. So let's just step back and look at the scorecard. For those huge AAA games, you're getting a really consistent 30 to 40 FPS experience at 1080p. But for competitive games, you're flying way past that 60 FPS gold standard. This paints a really, really clear picture of what this machine can do. Okay, we've seen the specs, we've seen the numbers across all these games, so let's get down to it. What's the final verdict? Who is a mini PC like this actually for? But before we give that final verdict, there is one little catch we've got to talk about. It's called the VRAM limitation. The easiest way to think about VRAM is like a workbench for your graphics chip. The more complicated the graphics, the bigger the workbench it needs. The integrated chip in here is good, but its workbench is kind of small. For almost every game, it's fine. But for a few super demanding ones like Hogwarts Legacy, it can become a bottleneck. It's just something you got to know. So here's the bottom line. This thing is an amazing choice if you want a solid 1080p gaming rig that's also a powerful little computer for work and everyday stuff. It absolutely crushes competitive games. But what it's not is a 4K ultra settings gaming beast right out of the box. For that, you need to use that eGPU port we talked about. And all of this leaves us with one last big question to chew on. For a lot of people, gamers, creators, you name it, a powerful and upgradable little PC like this might be everything they'll ever need. So do you think the big, bulky desktop tower has finally met its match? Because from where I'm sitting, the answer is getting closer and closer every single day.